talk too much, you won't get into trouble. But if you talk too much, your trouble will be double. Man, you're telling me I got in trouble talking? Me, of all people. Why, I was just walking along the street and met a pretty girl, and she said, let's stop in some cafe and get me a bite to eat. And I said, who are you talking to? She said, you. And I said, who? She said, you. And I said, me. She said, yes. And I said, no, lady, I don't. Well, you see, we've never met. Well, I'd like to, but I'm a little short. I mean, it's a long way to pay. No, I couldn't afford. No, you see, but I took her, though. If you don't talk too much, you won't get into trouble. But if you talk too much, your trouble will be double. Now, when we was through eating, she just sat there talking, yap, 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 like women will. And the waiter came over to the table and handed me the biggest bill, and he said, that's for you. And I said, who are you talking to? He said, you. And I said, who? He said, you. And I said, me. He said, yes. And I said, no, you got the wrong $18.50. Not for what? A cup of coffee and a half? Well, no, we didn't even have a... No, I won't pay it. Call the manager. I paid him, though. If you don't talk too much, you won't get into trouble. But if you talk too much, your trouble will be double. I don't know exactly how it happened, but that gal sure hooked me for life. The next thing I knew, I was standing in front of a preacher, and he was saying, do you take this girl to be your loving wife? And I said, who are you talking to? He said, you. And I said, who? He said, you. And I said, me. He said, yes. And I said, no, don't be so. Well, I hardly know. I mean, I bought her hand. I mean, kids, her mama wouldn't let her. She's too young. I married her, though. If you don't talk too much, you won't get into trouble. But if you talk too much, your trouble will be double. When we got home that night, I was so tired I was wishing I was dead. But she was feeling fine and said, honey, it's 2 o'clock. It's time for us to go to bed. And I said, who are you talking to? She said, you. And I said, who? She said, you. And I said, me. She said, yes. And I said, oh, honey, all right. If you don't talk too much, you won't get into trouble. But if you talk too much,